Yes, what's happening, people? You're listening to episode 74. I played to the whistle. We are back. We're back. We took a little break, but we're back. And
And
we've
said
changed
we're
it.
back.
Yeah, we're back, man. We always have to say that on these podcasts, but we're back. And we've changed the format a little bit. So hopefully when you listen to this podcast, you'll listen back to the previous ones and notice the differences that we've made. Hopefully you like them as well. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's up and running now, so make sure you go there, play to the whistle. Just make sure you do that, and also follow the social accounts as well, the PTTW podcast as well. So make sure you go on Twitter, Instagram, all of that stuff. Make sure you follow us as well. Kieran, Kaz, what you say, man? How you doing?
I'm good. It's a weird one. Because I ain't been watching the football that's on at the moment. So I feel like I'm having the break that the players need right now because a lot of them look finished.
Yeah, might as well jump straight into that actually, because that was one of the
Yeah.
things I was going to talk about. But because I was talking to someone yesterday, and they were saying, "Oh, England did this and that." Obviously, talking about the England Germany game,
Mm.
and England did this and that, and da 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 da. And I was saying, well, to be fair, a lot of these players, and well, also before I even watched the England game, I'm sure Thiago Silva's played like his 60 something game yesterday or the day before for Brazil, but
Mm.
incorporating all his league games, the Champions League, FA Cup, all the cup competitions. Like now we've got the Nations League, we're getting friendlies, we're getting World Cup qualifiers, all of this madness going on. What do you think? Because obviously players now, they're going to be having like a 2-week break and then back to preseason. Surely that's
Yeah.
like not enough.
Yeah, I thought it starts early, doesn't it? Because of the World Cup, but there's too much football. Like there's no need. I've never understood the point of having stuff right at the end of the season. Like, just let these man go relax. You might have the Confederation Cup some years, which I understand, but I saw it was weird. So who was it? Is it Wales? Obviously, Wales is qualified for the World Cup, but then they've got a Nations League game,
Yeah,
and it's
tonight.
like, yeah, and then there's a Donny that's playing for Nottingham Forest. I can't remember his name. Um, but he played in the Nottingham Forest playoff final, won that, then played for Scotland, got knocked out. And man saying I can't even celebrate the playoff win because I'm not going to the World Cup. And it's like, just let these men go and rest, innit? You
Mm.
know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
It's
true. And
mad.
even with the Liverpool parade. So I think the
Mm,
parade was on like the 29th of May. And the
mm,
only reason they had to do it the day after the Champions League was because the players were flying out to their like Mane was flying to
yeah,
Africa, and
yeah.
Salah the same, and obviously the other like Robertson was linking up with Scotland, Trent was going to England, and you just think these men have been playing
It's
back to
non-stop.
back, back to back. Remember as well that congested Project Restart as well, where they had the back to those. There's a game on every single day. Like sometimes you're watching like 4 or 5 games a day.
Mm.
So it just feels like now, as sad as it sounds, it's going to take another sort of Christian Eriksen moment, which I hope it doesn't go to that. But it feels like it's going to take something like that to happen again for people to start kind of wake up and say, right, these players aren't robots. They need to like have some form of break, because I don't know. It just seems crazy to me.
Yes, it is. I mean, I've been saying it anyway since when football came back after the first lockdown. But physically, the body ain't designed to deal with that, especially the way that football is now. And I salute all these guys, like all them man that play under Klopp, and the Donnies that play in like Ajax and even Chelsea. Like even you guys don't play as intense football, but you've got to concentrate. You've got to be physically fit to fit the system. So I salute all of these men, but yeah, the body can't take all that, and just mentally, like a lot of people have got at a few of the players that's out of form. Thinking of like Rashford, for example, is I think a big one of that. I know he got injured, but I think he's just tired, and even Mikel Antonio as well. I think he scored like 2 goals since Christmas,
Mm.
something like that. He's fly out to Jamaica. I salute because obviously I wasn't meant to play for them, but yeah, he must be like just when you ain't had annual leave off work for six
Yeah, yeah,
weeks
of
when
course.
you're
You're
tired.
mentally, physically drained.
Yeah. So these men must be shattered. I give it to them, but I don't even know who wants to see this much. football. Like, I don't know about you, but I get fatigued sometimes. I'm just watching games every day, and you can't miss a game because each game is relevant. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah, a little. I get you. I get what you're saying. I think obviously I miss football because I like my football, but at the same time as well, I don't want to be watching Azerbaijan and Albania or someone like that. Do you know what I mean? Just for the sake of watching them.
Facts.
So I think there has to be a line. I think for me, this whole Nations League thing, I don't think it's needed. If I'm going to be 100% honest, obviously I understand it for the smaller nations and stuff like that. I get it, and obviously for FIFA and all that stuff, it's sorry UEFA, it's money. They're just thinking about money and how they can get more sponsorships and all that kind of stuff as well. But in terms of the players, I think, why not utilize what they do in the Papa John's Trophy and allow like the under 23s to play a tournament? Do you know what I mean? Or
Mm.
blend it with, you can only have limited amount of senior players, but you got to mix it with the
That's it.
under 21s or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Rather than just allowing all these players to play all these games. Some of them are going to get a 2 week, maybe 3 week holiday. Some of them will have an extended break and then come back to preseason late, which then disrupts the team. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot. And I think I can speak for Chelsea. I'm sure our preseason starts like early July, like second or third week in July.
Yeah, it
So
will. It will do. Yeah,
it's crazy,
it
man.
might even be before that. When does the season start?
I think the season starts the 6th of August or something around then. So I
Okay, is it
think
a
we
week
fly
earlier?
to,
Yeah.
yeah, we fly to America. I'm going to tell you right now, unless I can't find it, which I probably won't be able to, but I'm pretty sure we fly. Yeah, they haven't put them out, but I'm sure it's like early July. It's like the second week in July, or it might be the first, but that means you got to report back to club early.
Yeah, all the fitness tests and all of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, we're blessed because we've a lot of our loan players that we tend to loan out during the season are the ones that normally play. Yeah, it's mad, but we tend to play them in the pre-seasons and then let the going back to the Euros last year, a lot of the players that played in the Euros didn't play hardly any pre-seasons
Yeah,
because they were obviously extended breaks. But yeah, it's one for me personally. I think they just got to look at giving these players a break, man. And obviously the World Cup in November, sort of December time as well. They're not getting a break,
yeah.
man.
But you know what's interesting though, because what do you think of? Obviously, you've got some men that are gonna be playing in the World Cup. There's a lot of men. I'm thinking like Salah, for example. He's played every possible game this season for club and country. By the
Mm.
way, obviously the World Cup not included, but you'll get a rest. So do you? I don't know what my question is, but do you think that will have a bearing? Do you think that's going to be a time you're going to see like players go away and they're going to come back really unfit, or you think it's going to be actually perfect that there's a little gap in the season at that time so the players can go away and the man that ain't playing the World Cup can just chill because it was it 3-4 weeks for a lot of them.
Yeah,
What's your thoughts on how
it's a
that might
difficult
impact the
one.
yeah
It's a difficult one because I think the first thing I'm thinking for like a Chelsea perspective is I don't want any of the players to get injured in that World Cup because obviously
mm,
if they get a big injury, a broken leg or whatever,
season
cruciates,
done?
something mad, then the season's done for in terms of domestic leagues and stuff like that. But I think as well the fact that they've incorporated the 5 subs in the league, I think for next season should help that because I think you got to think about there was times where, and again, I'm only talking from a Chelsea perspective, but not just Chelsea, other clubs as well, where you could see that, we had players that were just not fitting in, like Kante, for example, Rashford, you
Mm,
just mentioned as well. Those players were not fully fit last season and they shouldn't really have been playing in certain games, but obviously Tuchel and I'm going to say Solskjaer, but obviously both sort of managerial positions at United, both of them played Rashford at certain times when clearly he's not fit. So I think the 5 subs will hopefully help. But this is I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. Hopefully, and you'd expect there to be a break from the World Cup to going back into the Premier League or the Championship or wherever Bundesliga or wherever. You'd expect there to be some sort of at least a week um, difference in terms of that. But
mm.
we'll have to see, man. What do you think?
Um, I, I agree in that. I think I think the players do need a rest. I'm just trying to check now if there is a gap. Um, I have a feeling there won't be, but I think I hope that players can, the ones that ain't going will have a rest, and hopefully, and I'm sure the better managers will do that. And I'm thinking probably the managers in the top six, top eight of most of the big leagues, maybe the top three in the other leagues like Italy, Spain, France, will allow their players a week break. But all them man that's like fighting for relegation, where their players have gone to the World Cup, you guarantee those players will be back there.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like, I can't remember if Ivory Coast are qualified, but can you imagine like a Zaha, Crystal Palace are
Mm.
struggling down the bottom, and them, Zaha saying, "Oh, I need 3 weeks," and they're like, "No, no, no, you get a week and you need to come back because yeah,
Mm.
like you're gonna win us the 9 points that's gonna keep us up if they're struggling." Like as an example, so yeah, so, yeah, I'd need to
Just
check.
before I forget though,
Yeah,
because you just said something and I've almost forgot it already. That was
go
it.
on.
So just imagine though, if the players that don't go to the World Cup, if they do get a break, just playing sort of devil's advocate as well.
Mm,
Because obviously, if you don't play football for 3 or 4 weeks, that's a long time. If you're used to consistently playing football every weekend, 2 games a week, and then you're not playing football for
yeah,
3 or 4 weeks, although I've just said that players need a rest, so I still agree with that. But
yeah.
imagine not playing for 3 or 4 weeks and then coming back into a season, like it's almost like starting again. So that could again have the same impact of not
Oh,
playing for that long. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a tough one because
100%.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think for a lot of these players, they wouldn't have had, apart from the, weirdly enough, the pandemic might have been a dress rehearsal for it, because a lot of these players wouldn't have had it where they just playing, then they just
Mm,
stop, then they start. And I think, because I know we did the FM thing for that long in the 2021, so we know the drill. So there'll probably be like preseason, not preseason, but mid-season friendlies
mm,
maybe the week before. But I've just had a look now, so just to get a grasp of what it will look like, the World
mm.
Cup finishes on the 18th of December. I think that's probably going to be the final. Um, but then the Premier League starts again on Boxing Day, from what I can tell. So basically, that's a week in it, like 8 days. So I don't think a lot of them, and don't forget as well, I think from the sound of it, I'll have to check the schedule, but I think a lot of the games are going to be like every 3 days to catch up for the 4 or 5 weeks that have been missed.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
So I think a lot of men will come back from Qatar. They'll probably get a week's grace to, time zone and all of that stuff, and they'll just play.
You touched on Jamaica before,
Yeah,
and I want to talk because I sent you that thing
it's
in
mad thing.
I think it was in the group chat, but
Yeah,
yeah, to me that is mad. And I'm gonna pop it up. Obviously, anyone who's watching on YouTube, I'm gonna put up
yeah,
what Ravel Morrison um, put on his Instagram. Massive statement.
yeah.
Um, what's your thoughts on that? Because obviously, it's a bit mad.
Yeah, yeah. Well, obviously, like for anyone listening, the gist of it that I understood was, as it has been for quite a while, these men are flown out. So I think the flights have either been sorted or they've sorted their own flights out. And I think they went to Suriname this time. Is that right? Because they just
Yeah, yeah,
beat them, I think, today or earlier today, and drew, I think, on a weekend or something like that. But then they didn't bother to book them the flights to go to Jamaica or something like that for the return leg or however the match worked out. So they were just stuck there for time. And this like organization, I think it was Leon Bailey, from what I was reading, was basically like, listen, we ain't playing until my man goes, the guy that's organizing it, the administrator, or whatever, because yeah, that's mad. Like, look at the team that Jamaica have now,
yeah. It's
and
crazy.
they're doing this madness. And it's like, you got Leon Bailey, Antonio, you got Ravel Morrison, who, is a good player. They've got a couple man at the back as well. They've got some good players all around. So they haven't paid the players. This is
Yeah, that
crazy,
surprised
cuz.
me as well. That's the bit that surprised me because I think you just think, how's that even happening? as well. That shouldn't be happening at all.
It's mad. But it's not the first time. This has been an ongoing issue, which is why a lot of the man, even if they've committed to Jamaica, don't go and play because they don't get the flight sorted out. The conditions are terrible, and then
Yeah,
they
the
don't get
beds.
paid.
I think I was reading about beds as well, something like that, bed issues. And as a
Mad.
professional footballer as well, it, regardless of whether you play in the Premier League or you're playing
Yeah,
in Division Two or whatever, National League, whatever,
yeah,
you expect a level of professionalism because you're a professional footballer. You expect it, and if you're not getting that, like, like imagine me and you, we turn up to our workplace and the conditions just aren't what you expect them to be, or they're
yeah,
asking you to go and travel to Scotland, but you got to fund it all yourself or something like you just wouldn't do it.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's the same
yeah.
principles.
Yeah, and it's a shame because I think I can't remember one of the years, the last 6 years, I think Jamaica got close to the World Cup, and they got smothered this. They weren't even within a shout. Like, I think they lost a
Mm.
lot of the games. So it's a massive shame, and it's just basic things. It's not even like they want higher tech facilities and all of that stuff.
Because they just
You're
want to
talking
play.
about beds and flights,
Yeah.
like travel. Do you know
Basic
what I mean?
basic things as a footballer that
Yeah.
even some of your Sunday league pub teams are probably
Mm.
doing. Maybe not the flights, but in terms of transport and stuff, they're sorted. Basic stuff,
Yeah.
cause but they're doing well. Jamaica's doing well because I forgot the Nations League is obviously global. I in my head when I first heard about it, I just thought it was like European, but
Oh, was
the
it? What
nation,
is it? Oh, was it
yeah,
global?
yeah,
I
because
didn't even know that.
Jamaica's top of their group because they got Mexico in their group.
Oh, but
Yeah,
even
yeah, yeah. So I didn't
cause
know that either. It's only the other day when I sent you that thing that I checked and I thought, rah, the Nations League's global. I
it's
thought it was
for
just like
all
European.
nations.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, so they just have their separate ones in their own.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Like,
yeah.
was it CONCACAF or whatever it
That's
is?
the one. Yeah, yeah. But they're
Yeah.
top. Unbeaten.
Oh,
Unbeaten.
no, that's it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know they won their game. So obviously
3-1.
today's Tuesday. Yeah, yeah, and I think
Yeah.
Ravel Morrison scored.
He
They
did,
got
man.
they've got some good players coming through, and there's a lot of players that aren't committing to England now. I'd love to know. This is a whole different topic, but I'd love to know the reason why a lot of people are, or a lot of players, I should say, are committing to other countries.
Do you really need to ask this question?
No, no, as in no. But I'd like to know for sure. Do you know? Because I think I've got ideas of why that might be,
Mm.
but I'd like to know the thinking behind it. Like, why now? Why these man? Because certain players still want to play for England and Scotland and all of that, but there's a lot of man you're thinking, oh, right, who was it that there was someone for um has chose to represent Ghana recently. That's quite good. Is
Isn't
it
that it's not you're not about Callum Hudson-Odoi.
no? Is it the Brighton fullback, the one that was at Chelsea? What's his
But
name?
Lamptey.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It is Tariq
yeah.
Lamptey. It is,
Well,
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I mean. Like, I know obviously Trent and Reece
But
James. They're
let me
probably
just let me just say that
yeah.
though. That's why, because I think imagine you're playing. So here's a prime example, and I'm not saying I disagree with this or I don't really want to get into that, but Harry Maguire is still playing ahead of Tomori in the
Mm,
England squad.
mm,
Like that for me, we know why, obviously,
yeah,
because
yeah,
he's not as like the golden pupil or whatever for Southgate, but you just know why. You just know he's going to be selected above Tomori, even
yeah,
though Tomori's
yeah,
had a better season and
yeah.
for me, defensively, he's probably better than Harry Maguire. You just
Oh,
know that he's
yes.
going to be on the bench. So
Yeah,
the same with Harry Kane. Sometimes Harry Kane doesn't always perform. Yes, he's up there. He scores penalties. He's a brilliant striker. I'm not saying he's not, but when you've
yeah.
just seen the season that Tammy Abraham's had, and he still sat on the bench, for
What's the
me,
point, innit?
yeah.
Yeah,
So I think some of these players now they understand the opportunities that is going to be given to them to go and play, for a Ghana or Jamaica or Ivory
yeah,
Coast. These countries are actually, and they're actually good team. Like
yeah. They
like
can
the
go
teams
win
are
a tournament.
decent. Yeah, like the
Yeah,
teams are decent. So you know, um, I just think personally they've probably realised I don't want to sit behind Carl Walker, Reece James, Kieran Trippier, Trent Alexander Arnold,
yeah,
and I'm fifth choice, and I'm actually Like Sweet Lamptey,
He's good. He's a good
he's
player.
very good,
Yeah.
bar the injuries that he's had last season. But he's a very
Mm.
good player. He should be up there. So you can kind of see why. And
Yeah.
just over the last couple of years, society as well, because I think that's had a massive thing to play on just people's like mindset of
Yeah.
who do they want to represent and what are they representing and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, that was my assumption. It's the first point you made. Actually, I wasn't even really thinking about that, but it's true as well, man. So, um, I like it as well because like how club football. One of the reasons, because I know we're going to talk about the English football league as well in a minute, but it's getting the same like at the top level. Was actually the more players that branch out go and play for other countries, it's actually quite nice because you get to see those players play and other teams be competitive. Kind of like like Deco, obviously. Brazil had all their man
Yeah,
was
yeah.
from Brazil, but they're like, listen, I'm Deco and I can't even get in the Brazil team. So man, when I played for Portugal and did a thing, do you know what I mean? So
Isn't that like Emerson though as well for Italy?
yeah, just bury them. Any of them dons that's got that the Brazilian name, cause probably Jorginho is he half Brazilian? I think is like his dad's Brazilian or something, but he was born in Italy.
Yeah, but I'm sure he represented Brazil. Maybe not at
Like he
senior
might have
level,
done.
but
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
all of them dons, man, all of them dons that's got the one name. They're Brazilian,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. You're right though. It's true, man. It's true. It's true,
Yeah,
man. But yeah, man. Let's talk about the National League actually, because I don't know if you got to see. Like I missed the, or did I? No, I watched the playoff final. Solihull Moors and Grimsby. I don't know if you got to see that.
so I didn't see the final. I caught quite a bit of the Wrexham Grimsby
Yeah,
game, the
yeah,
semi
yeah, yeah.
final, which was mad. Um, so who's so Sully Hall went up, didn't they? Is
No,
that
no, no,
right?
no.
Was it
Grimsby went
Grimsby?
up in it. Yeah,
Oh,
Grimsby
okay, so I
went
got
into
that
extra
wrong.
time. Solihull
Yeah.
actually had the better game, to be fair, but Solihull went. Solihull scored, allowed Grimsby back into the game, went into extra time because I think what game was on that day? Was it the England game? I think it was the England game was on
Uh,
the same day, or there was another game
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
on.
Would have been the England game. Yeah, would have been
And
the
I was
England
flicking
game.
between the two, and I thought, let me just quickly put on the England game for a little bit. And I thought, oh, I'll get back to it when it goes into penalties. So I thought they just need to see it out in extra time and hope they go through on penalties. And then they let another goal in. I was like, so, but I wanted to talk about Wrexham because
Yeah,
I didn't watch them a lot this season, but I followed their results a lot this season.
yeah.
And for me, they dropped the ball, man. They really were in. I mean, that league's difficult anyway. I'm not saying that they should have just gone up, but they had a very good opportunity. I think up until February, March. I think February they had a really good run.
Mm.
They scored the most goals in the league, 91 goals. I think they lost the least games. I can't remember who went up automatically. I think it was Stockport that went up
Yeah,
automatically.
and that's what I was gonna say. It's a bit teeth in it because Stockport shouldn't really be. Not that they shouldn't be there, but they were a football league side, innit? it? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
as you know what I mean, innit? Like
yeah,
I
yeah. I
think
hear
didn't
you.
they go down because of administration or they got dropped
Administration,
points
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So you're gonna be a bit annoyed if because other than that
But it
they
was
were
in
the
their hands
guys, innit?
because Wrexham had
Yeah.
it in their hands for a long time in that season. I'm thinking back, there was a moment where, when was it? I knew when, that was it. It was a Torquay game because they were smashing teams. Like if you go back and look at their results, they were smashing teams
Mm.
like 4-1, 3-1, 2-1, 6 this, 4 something. And they were smashing teams like all season. They were doing really
Yeah.
well. And then they lost to Torquay, 5th of Feb. I got it here now. And that's when I started to doubt them because they went on a good run. Then after that, still in March, they had a really good
Mm.
run. They didn't lose that many games because, like, if you look at the results that they lost, there
Yeah.
were mad games to lose and to miss out based on the way that they played from the games that I watched as well. Like they should be up for me. I don't know how they lost out. They shouldn't have been in the playoffs for me. They should have been looking at automatic
Straight up.
promotion and yeah, because they played some amazing football last season.
So see, I mean, sticking with Wrexham, I think it's like it'll be like a Forest Green thing because I'm like not the season just gone, but the one before that they should have gone straight up and they got knocked out the playoffs and they just steamrolled the League Two and servedly went up. And I feel like sometimes it's good just to go up like that because if you can keep the squad together and that division is going to be weaker next season anyway.
You
Oldham,
think?
Oldham are finished. They're the
Mm,
way that they've been run and the way they've gone down. Unless something drastic happens, it's a bit mad. Scunthorpe are always a threat. They kind of yo-yo between a lot of the divisions. Like I know they've been in the Championship. They never really stay there, but like League One and League Two. But they they got murdered last season. But
mm.
Wrexham, because of the football that they played, there's a good feeling there. They've got a good stadium. They've got that. It's like the Real Madrid thing. They've got that
It,
prestige.
yeah,
Do you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say Wrexham. Is it Ryan Reynolds? Isn't he like
Yeah, and
co-owner?
yeah, and the brother from It's Always Sunny, Rob, was
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
L something or
What do you
whatever?
think of that though? Because obviously, I know obviously they're backing the financially they're like funding a lot of things, but like imagine obviously I know you don't really follow United like that anymore, but imagine I don't know Bruce Willis coming in and saying I'm buying United. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, what do you think is?
Do you know what's funny though? I think fans would like that because
Would
okay,
you
I
like
think
it though? That's the
would I
question. Would
like
you
it?
like it? Because it's a
Like,
bit
but compared to the Glazers, yeah, 100%.
okay. Okay,
Do you understand?
yeah, nah.
No, because no, I'll break it down so I'm not sounding like ignorant, yeah, but because I don't know the financial ins and outs. I'll have to check what's it,
Mm,
Kieran
I don't either,
Maguire's
but just from the
Twitter
outside,
Twitter
yeah.
stream in it to see if financially, but it looks like they've invested in the club. They actually go to games. They look like they enjoy it. They interact with the fans. I don't know what the fan base think of it, but it seems like they've got a decent relationship. They're putting the P's there. They're trying to get them back up. They care about the football. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if you're saying, yeah, celebrity had the P's to buy a United or I was going to say maybe a Liverpool or something like that, and they're gonna go to games, they're gonna be there, they're gonna back the club. Yeah, it's something you win, you lose. Like that's just
Mm,
how football is. But when you got
mm,
owners that don't really care, you might as well have a joke thing in it. Like comedians come around, it's the same thing. I
mm.
think the
No, you're
issue
right.
that a lot of fans have is the Americanizing of clubs. I don't think they like that because, and it's something that we've all come to grow and like. That real kind of Britishness of the club, not the racism part, but just the, you know, I've been there and the club's got history. Like Chelsea did and Tottenham did the thing where during COVID I think they had the vaccine centers or they used
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
facilities. United, when the stadium got bombed, they went and played at Main Road. All the clubs have got the history like that. Even like abroad, Valencia, I think when the city got flooded, a lot of the residents went and stayed and lived in the stadium.
Mm,
So that's like the raw culture. But it don't matter if you're not gonna look at Everton. I'm sure they'd much rather have a Ryan Reynolds run that club than the idiot that's there now. They're
mm.
going to be
No, you're
fighting
right, man.
relegation again. Do you know what I mean? Well, I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're no, I think you're right. I just wanted to hear your answer first, but I think for me, it's not about who. I mean, obviously, you need an element of someone who has ambition for the club and wants to take the club forward. You don't just want any and anybody running the club, but I think underneath is more important. I think who's managing the club, who's recruiting the players,
That's
who's
it.
do you know what I mean? That structure underneath, and I'm going to get onto Chelsea in a second, but that structure underneath is, for me, more important than the person at the top because the person at the top's just signing off the checks. To be fair, they're just
That's
doing
it.
that, and in my opinion, it could be anybody as long as they understand that this is a football club, not just a business. Like Mike Ashley's a prime example. Like for me personally, he treated Newcastle just like a business. He wanted to make money out of the club. He didn't really care about the club. You can see the difference now. They've got billionaire owners, so they're all right. But in terms of Wrexham, I think they've got it right because I think it brings a lot more spotlight on the club as well. In terms of you see them on
That's
Sky
it.
Sports News now. You see them on all these other platforms, and it's because of them. I think because
Commercial. Yeah.
not many people were talking about Wrexham up until then, in some senses. But I think underneath is more important, and I think that is where I speak to. Obviously, Chelsea fans got the Chelsea channel and all that stuff, but I'm trying to say to people, Todd Bowley coming in is fine as long as he understands that he's got to put a lot of money into that club. And I know Roman done that. Do you know what
Mm.
I mean? He spent billions of pounds or whatever, but I'm talking about he's got to get the structure
The
underneath. He's got
structure.
the
Yeah.
structure underneath Who's
It's
doing the recruiting?
gotta be
Who's doing
spot
the
on.
scouting? The negotiations. Marina's done a very good job doing that, but there's certain things we could have got too many last season. We ended up with Salnigas, so it's kind of tells you a little
No,
bit
no,
about
it's true.
So I think that structure underneath is for me more important.
I couldn't agree more. We was we're seeing this. I always get asked about both United for obvious reasons and also Arsenal as well. And I say all the time that these men ain't coming back. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
I'll say it again, and I'll say it with my chest. Not that United will get relegated. That's not what I'm saying. But they're closer to getting relegated than they are to winning the league until they sort out the board. And I think until the board resign, because they're not going to change.
Do you
Do you,
think
do
so?
you
You
know?
think Ten Hag coming in doesn't really change anything because of the
I
owners?
think you're gonna see history repeats itself. Yeah. Imagine, look at the man that has been in that club, right? Jose, Van Gaal,
Mm.
yeah, David Moyes, right? I'm not saying that these men were at the peak of their powers when they came in necessarily.
I mean,
Yeah,
Jose could have still done a lot better,
he
or
could have
should
done
have done
better.
a lot
What
better.
what what I mean is, this wasn't this wasn't Jose coming in from Porto
Yeah, yeah, okay.
or
I hear you.
coming in
Yeah,
from Chelsea the
I
first
hear you.
time. Do you know what I
Yeah, yeah.
mean? So, but these are established men that have got experience to run a club. They all lasted what, give or take, 2-3 years. All the
Mm.
managers have lasted, and Moyes 7 months. You can't tell me that that's all them. And the players aside, because I know people want to say, "Oh, players threw manager under the bus," all of that, yeah, but whatever. It's rotten, and still now there's no plan.
But I
Yeah,
suppose my argument to that is because Ten Hag's done really well at Ajax. I
yeah,
think he's done well. He's brought in a lot of youth players.
yeah.
He seems to have got it tactically right and off the field got it right as well. He's got that balance, which is good, and I think you need that in a football club. But
I agree.
do you think him coming in is the start of change? Because I think we talk about Jose, we talk about David Moyes and Louis
Yeah,
van Gaal. They're all respectfully, especially David Moyes, because he was written off after United. But a lot of those managers, I feel like Ten Hag's come in with a different approach, and I feel like they have to back him now because they've got a manager. They've got a manager that, for me personally, can do a lot if they back him. My
do,
only
do,
worry is if they back him and things don't work straight away, which I don't think they will, because it doesn't always happen like that. You got to give the manager the right time to do what he's got to do, maybe over 2 summer window transfers. If they do that and they say halfway through the season or before the end of the next transfer
yeah.
in next summer, they sack him, then it's for nothing. I don't get it. So I think they have to back him throughout, let him do a project for 3 years, and
Mm.
then assess him after that.
But you know what's funny about that, guys? Because you're right, yeah. But what's funny about that is they backed the other managers, yeah, and they messed it up. They backed Moyes. They gave him
And they
Fellaini
did.
and one
He
matter.
spent a lot of money.
Yeah, he spent money. So I'm not blaming David Moyes, but he got backed. He got screwed over because they messed about with the Fellaini thing. They could have just bought him at the beginning of the summer, and he got a bit messed around with Fabregas, who obviously turns out wanted to go and all of that stuff. But they messed
Mm.
about. They backed Van Gaal. They gave him the signings. He didn't get the players that he wanted, but a lot of their man didn't want to come. But they gave him the money. It's just they threw him under the bus with a lot of other decisions. I think they just signed Martial when he wanted Mane, and hindsight tells us who was right about that.
Mm.
Um, they backed Jose. They gave him Pogba. They gave him Zlatan. They gave him Lukaku. They gave him Matic. And then they threw him under the bus with Fred. I like Fred. I think he's a good player, but that's
I
not
think
what
he's
Jose
improved. I
wanted.
think he's improved a
Yeah,
lot.
I
I
think I
think,
think he's a good. I think he's not. Talk to Jesse and that, and a lot of United fans. He's not first out the door. He's probably not even second or third. He remains there, but they threw him under the bus because they gave him Fred. He didn't ask for Fred. Apparently, I wasn't in the conversation, but that's what I understand. He wanted a centre back. Solskjaer. They gave him money. Solskjaer spent the most money than any other
mm,
Man United manager since Fergie.
mm.
But then they gave him Ronaldo. They spent all that money on Sancho. I don't know if he wanted Sancho. I feel like maybe he did a little bit, but then he played him on the left, which tells me he didn't really want him. And Van der Beek. So they have backed the manager, but the issue isn't the manager. It's the board. Now, Woodward has gone, and I know Van Gaal said this the other day, and saying obviously things might change, but it's the board. Like signing Ronaldo because they don't want to go to Man City, but not evaluating what he's going to bring to the side and how he fits in with the overall plan.
Let me ask you a
That's
question quickly though about Ronaldo.
madness.
Do you think he had a good enough season when he came back from when he signed for United? Do you think he had a good enough season in terms of what he did?
Yeah, 100%. He had a great season, like Zlatan when he signed on a free. Yeah, they both had great seasons. The issue was that that's not the direction that Solskjaer was going. And then when everything kind of fell apart, he was the only man that was performing. You can't blame him for not
I
running
think he
or
carried the team.
closing. And
I'll be honest. I think he carried the team a
yeah,
lot.
100%.
Without them
Yeah,
goals that he scored, we could be talking about United below
the
below
Everton
mid
thing.
table. Yeah,
Yeah,
not that bad,
ish.
but a
But
Newcastle and a Newcastle kind of Leicester that kind of.
listen, but remember I said to you, man, I said two things. Yeah, I'm gonna bring the other thing back because I can. Brighton, but we ain't gonna talk about that today.
All right,
But
man.
what I
We're
said,
gonna
but I
get
said,
onto
I said to you,
that.
I said to United, I said to both of you, I bet I wouldn't be surprised if United finished 10th. Like it
No, you
wouldn't make
did.
no difference, and
No,
they
you did say
weren't
that.
that far off 10th. I think
No,
was
you
it
said that.
5 or 6 points, something
Yeah,
like that.
you did say that, man.
Because
You did say
I
that.
looked at that and I just thought, nah. And it's just and what happened this season was probably the managers with the most ability. That's how it kind of finished, give or take Arteta, dependent on how you rate him, right? But
Mm.
all the other managers finish where they finish because that's their level of ability.
But that's why I think Ten Hag coming in,
Mm,
he's just got to be given the time, man. He's got to be
I
given the
hope
time.
so.
He's got to be given the right, not the right amount of money. Because I think, like you just said, a lot of these managers have been backed heavily. But I think it's the recruitment again. Very similar to Chelsea. It's the recruitment, and if the recruitment isn't right, it doesn't matter who's in the hot seat. So we've seen that with other managers. So I think we just got to see. But I think 3-year project,
Yeah,
however long his deal is, can't remember, but however long he's there for, he's got to be backed for
yeah.
100% and
And
fully
listen,
backed. Not halfway through his contract. He's got to be backed to the very end, and then sack him if he hasn't done his job.
100. But listen, in about 2 years' time, right? We'll be talking about this, and he'll be like, we'll be saying something along the lines of, "Do you think it was helpful for United to bring in Neymar like on a free contract? Did that fit in with the Ten Hag philosophy? Because that's the kind of thing United will do."
What for
But
sales?
we'll see. You hit the nail on the head anyway. And listen, I hope it works out. I rate him as a manager. If it doesn't work at United, he'll go and do a great job somewhere else. Because don't forget, all the other managers have gone on and done bits elsewhere, apart
Very
from
true, man.
Ollie, and we know why that is.
Very true. I've got a question for you though.
Mm,
The teams that came up, obviously shout
yeah,
out Nottingham Forest. For the first time since 1999 or something stupid like that.
999. Yeah,
Something like that. The teams that came up, so that would have been Fulham,
Bournemouth.
Bournemouth, and Nottingham Forest, who all had brilliant seasons. I
Yeah,
kind of followed Nottingham Forest a bit. I thought Bournemouth, to be fair, yeah, they kind of had a dip, I think, at some point, but who doesn't in football?
yeah.
How do you see them doing next season? Obviously, it's early days. They're going to sign players. Players are going to leave their club. But obviously, Nottingham Forest back in the Premier League, man. That's a big one. That's a massive one.
Yeah, I can say exactly how I think it will go because I think it's gonna be not predictable, but anyway, Nottingham Forest. I'm glad that they're back in the Prem. It's been a long time coming. I know you don't have a given right to be in the Prem, but I like seeing them there. They're part of my childhood.
Yeah, yeah,
My
hundred
football
percent.
heritage. Do you know what I mean? I've watched them play. I think they play very good football. They have to get their signings right. I know everybody does, but the reason for that is obviously their goalkeeper, I think today or yesterday, was saying he's not going to sign a contract. He wants to leave. And he was amazing. I think he was out of the team and came back. I can't remember what the situation was. I think the original, the number one, got injured and he came in and was excellent. And obviously James Garner, who's excellent for them. Not the only player that they had, but he was the cog in the midfield that made that work. And he might not stay there. I hope he does. I think it'll be good. So I think it
Is that the
depends
same
on
same James Garner from United, isn't it?
Yeah,
Or he used to be,
yeah. So I mean, he's obviously he's on loan there. So, but he had a really good season. They've got a few other players. They've got some really good players. So the right back, I can't remember his name. The one he's given it to Warnock on socials like just after the playoffs.
Which one? Who's that?
Is it?
Spence.
Yeah, Spence. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
He's played really well last season. I think he's got the quality to function well in the Prem, and the striker Johnson as well. Obviously, his dad
Yeah, yeah.
was very good as well. So they've got quite a few players, but there's a couple man like, no disrespect, but Keenan, I think it's pronounced the striker. I think he's a good player, but he might struggle in the Prem, and they've got a
Mhm.
few, so they'll need to get some signings. Bournemouth, Bournemouth's the only one I'm unsure about because I like Scott Parker. I think he's a very good manager. I'm hoping that he's the one that's still there. It's probably been. I learned that the Forest Green manager left. I didn't realize, but Scotty anyway. He's a very good manager. And Bournemouth for that kind of team, I think they've got enough players there that have the know-how. Man that have really played in the Prem, they'll attract players because it's only really them and Southampton in that region. It's a nice city to go to. Players will be attracted there. Fulham are coming straight back down because they've got the same issues that they always have. Mitrovic, I like him as a player, but he's just not good enough for the Prem. How
He's a
many times has he been in the?
championship player, man.
Yeah, he's without too much disrespect. Actually, I'm not going to name players, but we all know the players that they bang 30, 40 in the championship, come to the Prem, they get free, go back down, they score another 30. So,
Because
and I think
Fulham
that
scored, how many goals? Fulham
it's
scored like 100
100
and
or,
something. Let me check.
yeah,
They scored like
106.
106 goals.
Yeah.
Mad.
And they it was too easy. And sometimes when you come up like that, because at the beginning of the season, I
Expectations are
looked at
different,
it,
man.
yeah, I just thought, you man can't play this champagne football in a Prem, and that's why your Nottingham Forest and your Bournemouths, the way they play, suit the Prem a little bit better. Um, and their board's a mess as well. Like they make some mad signings and do
Mm.
weird things, so they'll come back down. Bournemouth, I think, will stay up, and Forest, it can go one of a few ways. But if you think about who's in the Prem, because that also kind of dictate things. Like Brentford, for example, might have been in a bit more trouble if Watford didn't come up with them. Do you know what I mean? But I think next season, given my prediction of Brighton, I think they're going to struggle because I think a lot of teams are going to go after their players next season. Southampton, I think they're going to be in a bit of trouble. Leeds, I think they're going to be in trouble. I know they're going to make a few signings, but I think they'll start well and they're going to fall off. And I think Everton will be back down there scrapping. Probably won't go down, but they'll be struggling. I don't be surprised. I know you're not going to be surprised by this, but don't be surprised to see Villa down there as well. So that's why the Forest one's a bit of a techie one, but that's how I see it anyway. Fulham back down, Bournemouth probably stay up, and Forest I'm unsure, but they might. The right signings can do it. But what's your thoughts? I've kind of dominated that, but what's your
No,
thoughts?
man, I'm just listening, man. But no, I think obviously Forest is difficult because like they've been at the league for what, nearly 20 years.
Mhm.
So I think it's going to be difficult for them. I think they done. I mean, I'm only basing this on the FA Cup, but they done really well in the FA Cup. I think you remember. I think they beat Arsenal, United. Sure, it was those two teams. I can't remember. I think it was them two, but they played some really good football. You name some of the key players that they've got. I think again, I keep saying this on this episode, but recruitment is going to be key for Nottingham Forest. They got to bring in some key players, um, and yeah, they got to get it right. But one thing that I do think as well about Forest, and especially Bournemouth, you do tend to find those teams that come up from the Championship. They have that really good season when they come back into the Prem, and it's normally the second season that they
Yeah,
somehow
yeah,
they start
yeah.
struggling. So I think Forest, hopefully, because I do like them as a team, I think they'll stay up next season. Obviously, it's early days; things can happen, players will move on, and this and that. But I think if they can keep the core part of that team and add to it as well, I think they should
Mm,
be all right. I think Bournemouth, there's players in there. I'm trying to think now. Nat Phillips, I think, still there, defender. Solanke's played in the Premier League. I know
that's it. Yeah.
he's not a Premier League player as such. He didn't really get the right time at Chelsea or Liverpool, but he's had experience in that league, so he understands what the expectations are as well. I think Lewis Cook as well. I think, for Bournemouth.
I
So
think he's still there. Yeah, I think hopefully he won't move on. But yeah, you're right.
I mean, they're not. I'm not saying that they're elite players or they're players that will dominate games or they'll do amazing throughout the season. But I think they have enough in that team. Same with Forest. I think they have enough in the team to stay up, to do well. But yeah, I think it's a difficult one with Fulham because obviously they are a team that, for me personally, might go down, come up, go down. But it's difficult to say, man. I think I look at Southampton. I'm still going to say Bournemouth again. Early days, but I still say Bournemouth because yes, they play some brilliant football. But if they don't buy a striker, I think they're going to be finished next season. I think they need a striker. They need someone that can
Mm,
put the ball in the back of the net. And I've been saying that for 2 seasons now. I think Everton are going to be okay. Maybe that's because I'm
yeah.
just, it should be local, whatever. But I think they're going to be okay. I think they showed elements of how they can play with the team that they had as well under pressure. I just don't understand why they can't do that for a season. I'm not saying that they should be pushing for Europe or nothing like that, but they shouldn't be hovering there. They shouldn't be nowhere near there if they can add to that team. The problem they have is they have to do the financial fair play stuff and all of that. But I
Yeah.
think if they can. I mean, there's talk about them trying to get Billy Gilmore, Conor Gallagher on loan, Armando Broja from Chelsea as well. I think
Mm,
Lampard, with that relationship with Chelsea,
you get a
might try
couple
and
man.
utilize that a little bit and
Mm,
bring in some experienced players. I mean, Conor Gallagher goes there. We saw what he did for Palace last season, so that's a big signing. But
mm.
they have to get rid of some of these deadwood players. I want to say Iwobi, but he had a bit. Listen, Iwobi's probably
He's one of the reasons they stayed up.
exactly. He's probably one of the
Yeah.
reasons I actually stayed up. So I don't want to say him, but if we're talking about a whole season, then I might have to throw Wobie in there because he only done it when it mattered, and you can't have that in your team. Holgate, those kind of players.
I was gonna
Coleman
say
needs to go
they got a
now.
couple of defenders in it that probably need to
Yeah, they
move
got to
on.
get on now and just they got to kick on and maybe bring in that Brathwaite who looks really good. I
Mm,
watched him at under 23s. He's really good for Everton, but again, the experience. I think he got sent off in one of the games, an important game back into last season. But things like that will come to him as he plays more football. But um, yeah, I just think for me, I think Leeds were very lucky to stay in the
mm.
Premier League, and I think they might go. I think they're gonna struggle next season. I'm gonna say it early on. They're gonna struggle, 100%.
Can I ask you on off the back of that as well? Because I didn't mention them, but Brentford.
I don't know. I don't think they'll struggle. But I don't think they'll do anything. I think they'll be a mid table finish. I think again it's difficult because I expected a lot more from Ivan Tony last season. Same way I expected a bit more from Ollie Watkins though. I know we had that debate a couple months ago.
Listen, man. These men scored like double figures. Well, what was when you say that? Would you mean like I'm not trying to get you, but I mean what would you expect from them, or what
I
were
don't
you
know. Maybe
expecting?
like you just said though about sort of like Mitrovic. In the Championship, it's a lot easier to bag a lot more goals, and the
Mm,
Championship's a lot easier to score goals. So maybe I'm just the expectation of seeing how Ivan Tony played in the Championship to
mm,
how he played in the Premiership. But maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just so maybe you're right. But I just think yeah, I expected more from them. Not just them two. I could pick out loads of other strikers, but in terms of Brentford, I think they'll be okay. I don't think they'll. I think for me, the teams that I think will definitely struggle next season is Southampton, especially Leeds, Brighton. I think Fulham might, but it depends who they bring in. I think they'll
mm.
try and bring in some key players who've played in the Prem before, have got the experience. So I think they should be okay. But it's early days, man. It's early days. We still got a transfer window to go. All of that stuff, man. As long as we're not down there, and I say we, I mean Chelsea, then I ain't bothered,
Talking
man. I don't care.
badly.
I don't care who goes down
And
as
as
long
long
as
as we're
us.
not down there.
Listen,
Bro, hey, that takeover has really it's rattled you, isn't it?
what the Chelsea one?
I'd say 40 points, yeah.
Remember that season, Liverpool? I know they never went down. I mean, was it Roy Hodgson that
Yeah,
was there? Remember, it
yeah.
happens, man. There's going to be a big team. Maybe it's going to
There's
be
a
Villa,
yeah,
and I say big team because of the fact that they are big in terms of the Premier League status. Though they shouldn't be in the
yeah, ever
Championship.
present and all of
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
So if they go down, then or even like at Everton, like imagine Everton did go down. That's a massive team who's been in the
yeah.
Premier League for so long to then go down. So Yeah, we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. But keeping with the Premier League, I
Mm,
got a question for you, cuz.
mm.
Now, I read earlier, and I knew this anyway, but I read earlier that Lionel Messi nearly signed for Chelsea in 2014.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So my question to you, that isn't my person, by the way, but I'm going to ask you this question. What player that was linked to United that you missed out on was you most gutted about? Is there
Oh,
a
this is
player that,
easy, and I think this
go on,
this will be the same for every United fan. Ronaldinho, without a doubt.
what, he's meant to go to United?
2005. Uh, the year Beckham left, 2003. Yeah, yeah,
Nah,
yeah, yeah.
I did
Yeah, I
not
think he
know
was.
that.
I think he was on his way, and then Barca
What,
came in.
literally?
He was in the midst of being convinced,
And that
and
was
then
prime
Barca was
Ronaldinho as
like,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was yeah. So that would have been what, a year after the World Cup. So he had
Mm.
at least 3 good years in him. That would have been
Shit, I did
uh
not know that.
it would have been mad because we probably would have signed Ronaldo as well. Still,
You
so
mean you mean not real
CR7,
Ronaldo?
CR7, CR7,
And said CR
and
Kelly, you mean?
possibly. When did Rob N join you, man? 2005. Cause it would have been
Yeah,
over. Yeah, because obviously
yeah,
Peter
yeah.
Kenyon took his took his little black book from United straight to Chelsea, isn't it? I was so angry, but yeah, yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know?
So and because Damien Duff was the same, I think we were linked
Yeah,
with
yeah.
them, and obviously Kenyon did his thing, and fair play to him. He had a great career at Chelsea after Blackburn. But
You
no,
know what was funny?
Ronaldinho.
It was funny. I was talking today about John Obi Mikel when you man flew him over, and then we, I swear, you man paid for his flight and everything, and then we just hijacked the move, man. We hijacked it, but yeah, that was
Do you remember the story though when he's saying about had a gun put to his head and got forced to sign for United and he never wanted to go and all these mad. Do you ever read that
no, I
story?
don't know this. What's the story?
I'm gonna try and find it. I didn't
What?
laugh at it
So,
because if it's true, then it's a bit mad.
hold on. So he's
I swear
saying
he
that
said like he got.
what United people put a gun to his
Someone
head, or
said he
just
had a So someone said he got threatened or something, or his like family was gonna get kidnapped or so. I shouldn't. I'm not laughing because of that stuff happens. I'm laughing because I'm sure he said something like that. Wait, I'll have to find it later. And
yeah. I'm gonna put like a screenshot of it on the YouTube anyway. So I'm gonna find that. But
yeah,
my
I'll
know who
find
mine
it. But
was?
yeah, who's
Mine
yours?
was it's gonna sound mad, but mine was Steven Gerrard. You know?
In when was that? 2004.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because that was
it
prime
was a year.
Gerrard then as well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he was
Do,
gonna
do you
sign. You
think it would
know,
have? Well, I mean, we all know what happened there, but
it would have worked.
Do
You're
you, do
gonna
you
ask me if
think
it was gonna
do you
work.
think do you think it would? Yeah, yeah. I was going to
Yeah,
ask you.
100%,
'Cause
hundred
it didn't
percent.
for England.
He,
Do you
if
think it
Steven
would?
Gerrard came to Chelsea, he'd have Premier League medals right now. That's how mad it is. He'd have a Premier League medal hanging up in his trophy room in
Better though.
Formby. Trust me, like that's how confident I am that he would have been one of the best signings ever. Not to say that he
But
didn't do
what's
anything for Liverpool, because obviously he did, but Premier
no,
League
no, no. He
wise,
did.
he would have been finished.
Would Lampard have still had the same legacy if Gerrard joined?
Probably not, but I think you could have still accommodate both of them. I think you could
Mm.
accommodate the two of them. I think this whole thing about they can't play together, I think that was just a myth, man. I think, for me personally, I think it was a myth. But and don't forget as well, didn't Gerard played? Gerard didn't always play centre mid, you know.
Yeah, yeah. He was like he was a 10 anyway for Liverpool, wasn't he?
Mm,
Pretty much behind
yeah, yeah,
Torres for a lot
yeah.
of his
So I
well
think,
that period anyway.
yeah, I think it would have worked, man. I think it would have worked. I did have another one. I think it was Robinho, but I wasn't that gutted about it because we were heavily linked with him. And to be fair, I don't know if it would have worked
Yeah,
anyway because look how he played for City. He didn't really have the best time at City, but I remember I was gassed as well. I remember because it was
yeah.
almost
I
like a
do
done
remember.
deal. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm pretty sure even he admitted in his press conference that he thought he was still signing for Chelsea. He didn't realize he was signing for Man City. I don't know if that was, I can't remember if that's true, but I'm pretty sure he said he just realized the two kits
He
were
didn't, he
blue.
didn't know, innit, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because I think he
They
thought he was
tricked
signing
him.
for United at one point as well, and that was another thing. I thought
Yeah, because he
he had
said
yeah
Manchester, innit?
yeah
But that
yeah. I
might be
think
Bants as well. I don't know. I ain't got
nah, I don't
quotes,
know,
but
because you got to remember some of these players they came over here. All they know is Manchester United. They don't know about at that time as well. They didn't know about Manchester City
yeah,
like that. So there's got to be some truth in that, man.
probably
I
right.
think
Probably
anyway.
right.
But yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I didn't know that about Ronaldinho. That's sick. But for me personally, I would have to say, yeah, Lionel Messi. And again, I'm gonna ask you a quick question: is there a guarantee that Messi would have been as prolific as he has been? Because when you think about some of his games when he's played in the say, I know it's different tournament, but the Champions League against English teams, he hasn't always done amazing stuff. I swear he's only got like a handful of goals. And I'm thinking back to Chelsea games, Liverpool. He never had like amazing games, but he's only had a handful of games, so it's hard to judge him on them.
I've got an answer to your question, but just before I answer it, Alan Shearer. I knew there was another one in 90
Yes,
in 96. No, yeah,
Fergie wanted
96,
him hard,
97
didn't it?
season.
Yeah,
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 and he
yeah,
went to
yeah. Have you seen the
Newcastle for
documentary?
less money. Yeah,
The
which one? The Fergie one
Yeah, it was on
on
Saturday.
Amazon.
Ironically, it was on after the England game, but I watched it on Amazon ages
I
ago,
think,
and
I think I have. Yeah, it's mad.
I'm
Yeah,
sure they
that
talk about it in there. I've watched a documentary anyway, and they talk about how um, basically they were not tapping him up, but they were dying to get Shearer, dying to get
did the
him. And I
Fergie
think
thing.
Fergie was even on the phone to him, like, just calm, just calm. Can't do the Scottish accent, but he's like, just calm, just calm. Yeah, I mean, trying to get him to come.
Yeah, he tried to do the Roy Keane to get it, Chad,
Yeah,
but
yeah, 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 yeah. He tried to get him
yeah,
hard, and
no,
then he was like, "No, I'm not coming." But
he's a
that would have
Geordie through and
been,
through, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh,
that would have
they
been,
United would have won a quadruple. I guarantee
yeah,
you.
yeah,
Yeah, without batting an eyelid. But
serious baller.
back to your Messi question. I, I think I think he would have been ridiculous in the Prem. The only thing that would have got in the way of that would have been Chelsea, ironically, because of your systems and changing your manager.
Yeah,
Because
it's true.
I feel like he's done what Barca because they played a similar system. Even when they've changed it, everybody knows what they're doing. Whereas the
Mm,
Chelsea changes, thinking of that period of time, and he would have played under Jose, innit? It would have been a bit mad. So, but I think yeah, he would have definitely knocked 30, 40 a season. Because remember, he ain't played well against some English sides, but that's usually the best English sides. And even
mm,
then, he scored against most of them anyway. So imagine
mm,
people say about Stoke on a cold, wet night, he'd be Ryan Shawcross would have been retired. Do you know? This is going to sound mad, but a lot of the players that he injured, they would have had careers if Messi played in the Prem because he would have
yeah,
been
it's
done.
true.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
So,
true. It's true.
yeah, I think he would have been fine. It would have only been a manager situation, but I think he would have banged. Imagine, obviously, you got to remember Henri, your Zolas, Ronaldo just come and done a thing.
Mm,
I'm missing out a lot of man, but you know what I mean. Man have
yeah,
come
yeah, yeah.
here that's elite and done the business. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? So
yeah. No, I agree with you, man. I just wanted to hear what you're saying, but
no,
that was the
I'm
one
not that
that.
bitter. German
Nah,
fans
man.
are like, no, he'd be terrible. No,
No, no, no. I just think I think the fact that it's Messi and I think you could put him in any team, with the right system, right manager, obviously, but he'd flourish. He'd be insane, and he's still doing that now. I can't remember who Argentina played the other night, but or
he's
the other
doing.
morning, but he was tucking for fun.
They
So
played I think they played Italy and they played someone else. But
yeah, it
I
was the
know they
game
beat
after that.
Italy
It
the
was the
game
game
after. Yeah,
after.
I can't remember who they played.
Yeah,
But yeah.
I can't remember if it was Japan.
They won 4-0, I remember. But yeah, I can't remember who they
Yeah,
played, but he
yeah,
was mad at the match and yeah, he's ridiculous.
yeah, man. But yeah, to me personally, that would have been the two sickest ones for me. Ronaldinho, well, three, Gerard and Messi, man. Not in that same team, or it may be in
Yeah.
that same team, but I just mean those
Just one
three.
of them. Just one of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. Messi would have been sick. Gerard as well, but yeah, I didn't know about Ronaldinho. I'm going to have to Google that one in a minute. Gonna have to Google
Yeah,
that.
he was on his way. Like he was because I think the whole thing was Beckham was gonna get sold. And obviously I think he was supposed to go to Barca and we were supposed to get Ronaldinho from
Okay.
PSG. But then obviously Beckham went to Real Madrid. Barca didn't want to pay the P's, and they used that P's to get Ronaldinho for
I
peanut. I
hear
think they
you.
paid like 13 million.
Finesse United.
Oh,
I
like
hear that.
always, isn't it? But yeah, that was the one anyway. I thought it was a done deal. I was gassed. I thought he was actually coming, and then I see man, with, that smile in the Barca shirt, and I was so upset. I was
It cuts
crushed.
through in it.
Yeah, it hurts, man. It hurts. See man shouting
Oh
the next
shit,
man's
man.
kit.
Listen,
Anyway, man.
let's end it on that lovely note, man. Because I think
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah, I feel that pain, man. I feel that was the pain I definitely
it still
felt.
hurts.
Now, as much as I didn't want Robinho, but that's the pain that I felt because I think because we thought we were getting him and we never got him, and he went to
Mm,
City. And I remember at the time, City were the team that was just like coming up and buying the players, and do you know what I mean?
yeah,
They could take their pick, and we, to be fair, at the time, we were the only team that was spending money like that. If you think about
yeah,
it, in terms
yeah,
of
yeah.
the big money, and we were the ones where if someone said you're coming to Chelsea, you go to Chelsea. That was it. Like
That's it.
you're coming. And then when City started doing that, we were like, raw, like our kind of our position had been moved a little bit. We weren't the top dogs in terms of spending money.
Mm,
So
mm,
yeah, man, that one hurt, but not because I wanted him, just because I thought I was getting him.
yeah, that's
You know
it,
them
and
ones.
the
Yeah,
expectation. Yeah.
but yeah, man. Yeah, man. But yeah, man, this has been what's this episode 74, isn't it? So
Mm,
episode 74, play to the whistle. As I said at the start, make sure you follow the socials, the PTTW podcast on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, search us play to the whistle, Spotify, click the follow button, subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to or anything, just click follow,
all of it.
subscribe, all of that
All of it.
stuff, man. Just make sure you do that for us as well. And leave your comments as well, especially leave your comments because we're going to be doing a lot more of these kind of episodes where we're just talking about certain topics. So if there's a topic you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments or just DM us as well. Always open for that as well, man. And obviously Jesse will be joining us as well, back again soon. But
100.
Cuz, man, appreciate us
It's been a
coming
good
on and
one.
doing this again, man.
Yeah, man. Still got to be doing
It's
more.
been good,
But
man.
yeah,
It's been
till
good, man. It's
till
good
then,
to be back.
100%.
That's what I'm going to call this episode, actually. Back again. Back again.
It's a good title.
Yeah, man. But yeah, thanks everyone for listening, man. We're out.